Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and you guys, the level of excitement is very, very high in this room. Let me just tell you about it. So, I received only hours ago my full package with all the shades of the newly released Stila Suede Shade Liquid Eyeshadows, and these things are so gorgeous. There is my little swatch on the arm. You guys are going to see so many things diving into this video, because for this launch, I really wanted to do something special, something a little different, and really dive into these colors and show you guys these in several different forms. Because for me, one of the things that I love most about liquid eyeshadows is actually the versatility of them. You can work them through the crease, you can pat them on the lid, you can use them as a cut crease, you can use them as a liner. Like, there's just so many ways that you can completely re-engineer these to literally do so many different eye looks and make it so beautiful. And that is why for today's video, guys, I've never done this before, and my tiny little eyeballs are a little bit irritated by it, so I apologize if they look a little red. But for today's video, for the first time ever, I took all 8 shades, I individually worked them onto the lids, and I did eye swatches. Oh, but I didn't just do eye swatches, honey boo boo. Oh no, I did not. I did eye swatches that are blended through the crease and eye swatches that are patted onto the lids, so that way you can see how they sheer out and how they build up. You can really get a feel for both. And then I figure along the way, if there's any shade that I had an issue with or that I want to give you any like additional commentary with, I can do that as well. So let's go ahead and dive in first with the Ulta.com website. That is where I purchased these from, and that is where, like I said, I'm going to be reading all the info from as well. So these are $24 a piece, released in 8 shades. We've already covered that. And the amount of product you get per tube is 0.153, which is also consistent with the other Stila Glitter and Glow eyeshadows, which I thought was really nice. Now moving down into the description box here, it says velvety matte but never flat Stila Suede Shade Liquid Eyeshadows with a multi-dimensional mega impactful matte finish. Subtle iridescent pearls add a hidden lift to the formula's matte finish without adding shine. The effect is a mega impactful matte finish that wears beautifully alone or paired with Stila's other shimmer or glitter eyeshadows. The long-wearing pigment-packed color glides on smooth with a lightweight, refreshing feel. Now, there are several things about this description that I actually really do appreciate. I'm glad that they touched on this idea of velvety matte and where velvety matte reaches kind of a pearl undertone, because there are definitely shades in here where I feel like you can really see that pearl come through, and other shades where it looks a lot more subdued. But that being said, I think that it is a beautiful balance overall with all 8 shades, that it does have a nice matte look to it, and when you apply it, you can definitely see that it's matte once it dries down, which I'm going to go ahead real quick here and throw up the colors both when I freshly swatched all 8 shades, and then I'm going to switch over and show you them after they were all dried down, just in case, you know, you want that side-by-side comparison, just so you can see them. Like right now, for example, swatched on my arm, these are all dried down. They've been here for quite some time, and they do have a nice matte look to them. But what I really like and appreciate is that in looking at these, they don't look matte in like a dry down, dry, crusty kind of matte form, and I know that doesn't sound very appealing, but I really like that these have a matte but soft feel, and I think that's where they're coming at with like that velvet matte. So let's go ahead now and kick things off. You will be seeing these swatched on the lid in this order. So when you saw them up close just now, this is what you're going to be seeing going through. I kind of chose this order so that way they would have a good like juxtaposition to go up against, and I did alternate my eyes when swatching, so it's going to go the green one, then the gray one, and then back and forth and back and forth. That was just to give my eyes a break, so I didn't do all 8 swatches on one eye. Hello, my poor little beady eyeballs. That wouldn't be any fun. Now, I also want to mention I swatched these all completely the same. That way everything was completely controlled. So I used 2 brushes. The one to fluff it through the crease, I used the BH Pro number 5 brush. It's a big old fluffy brush. I did this just to work everything through so we could see how it shears out, and this is one of my favorite brushes. And then to pack it all over the lid here, I used the Sigma Eye Shading E55 brush. This is an amazing flat packer brush, but it does have a little bit of thickness to it as well, and it's just a really nice option. And then to prime and prep every lid, I use the ABH Eye Primer. Now, I picked this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I do really like it as a primer. It's working pretty well, and it does have like a nice light matte dry down, which I thought would be really useful given that these have more of a matte kind of finish when they dry down, obviously. Now, the other reason I chose this is because it's not a concealer, meaning I didn't want to blend all of these on top of a concealer that works for my skin tone specifically, because I felt like that would kind of take away your guys' frame of reference. Maybe if you are a different skin tone or a different undertone than me, I wanted you to be able to have a reference that is at least consistent. So I know know that this color is very, very fair on most people. It's even very fair on me, but it is a color that I thought would be something everyone can use as far as a frame of reference. Again, if you've used it, if you've tried this color, and it's also a nice bright shade, so it's something that these, while translating to camera, could show up well on. So that's why I chose it. I hope that that makes sense kind of where I was going with it. I just thought that this would be a good base, a nice bright base, and something that several people would be acquainted with. So that's the tea on that. All right, so all of that being said, let's go ahead and actually dive into these swatches, shall we? We are going to get started first with Enchanted Earth. This is a beautiful, beautiful olive green tone. This is one of my favorite shades that was released in this collection, and what I really liked about this one is that as I worked it through the crease and onto the lid, the opacity was beautiful. Again, it wasn't too matte. It was a very nice soft matte finish, and it truly was just one of those shades that I could see myself using time and time again. So now moving into Smoky Silk, this is the light gray shade, and this shade for me was the one that I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about no light gray on my lids, but it really is a beautiful shade. It sheers out gorgeously. I think this would make a great transition shade or beautiful packed all over the lid. It's one of those ones that, like I said, really surprised me, especially when it comes to packing it all over the lid. I did not expect to like it that much. The opacity is really, really nice, and this is one of the shades that the light amount of pearlescent undertone really does help a lot kind of alleviate the dullness that comes with the color gray, and it just gives it enough vibrancy and enough oomph that it carries it through. So then we're going to move into the shade Sassy. Now that is a beautiful nude pink shade, and one of the things that I love most about this one is that it's a very nice supporting actress, I would say, to several other shades, not even just in this collection, but even if you wanted to go with a glitter and glow or a glitter all over the lid or a highlight shade, I feel like this would be great, even as a base shade even. It's just such a nice light pale pink shade. Now that being said, I don't think that this is going to stand out and be its best self all over the lid by itself. I feel like it might look a little bit dull, but it does have a nice amount of opacity, and if you wanted to pack it all over the lid and wear it alone, you definitely could. I just think that it's complemented best by other colors, but it did work through beautifully, not patchy, full opacity, and a gorgeous, gorgeous color. And I was really impressed, given that it was a nude shade. The level of opacity I thought was really nice. Okay guys, so next up we are to the belle of the ball. This is the Violet Velvet shade, and this is described as a light violet mauve, but I just think this is a beautiful, rich, bright purple. Guys, if you are a purple fan, this is your time to shine. This thing works so gorgeously. Whether you want to work it through the crease, pat it all over the lid, however you want to apply it, it is so, so nice. It blends out like a dream, and a little bit of this goes such a long way. The opacity is gorgeous, and it really works itself out so nicely. It's one of those shades that you're really shocked by when you go to blend it, because it just blends out so evenly. And overall, I would say that for most of these shades, they just blend out like a dream. But this one in particular really did shock me, because it's beautiful. You can really build it up and get that full brightness, or you can leave it a little more sheer and have it be a little bit more. So now we are onto the shade Something Blue. This is a beautiful, beautiful sky blue, almost periwinkle blue. It does have that nice pearlescent kind of sheen come through, which you guys can see while I'm applying it. It is so gorgeous the way that it sits on the lid. For me, this is one of those beautiful bright summer colors. You could pair it with others. You could use it as a base to do like a nice bright eye look. You could even use this shade as a cut crease, and I think it would be beautiful up against so many other colors. Now, something that kind of disappointed me, and you guys can see me kind of working it through all over the lid, it didn't build up. The opacity wasn't perfect on this one. It did have a little bit of a patchy spot to it that I was not able to build on top of and cover. So I do think this one has a little bit more trouble in that area, but the pearlescent undertone of this one is also the brightest, so maybe it has something to do with that. I'm not sure. Either way, I don't discount this as being a really nice product. I just would stick to maybe working it through the crease, maybe using it as like a light cut crease and outline, something to that effect, just not something that I would count on to build up all over the lid. Next up, we have Busta Mauve. This is just a deep mauve shade. Guys, this color, so beautiful, rich in opacity, blends out like a dream. A little bit does go a long way with this color, and I think that that has a lot to do with the richness in the opacity. The deep shade shades in this collection, when they are deep, girl, they are deep. They go for days, and you just need to be very mindful when you apply them, because you can overly apply and then have a hard time blending them out just because you will have a ton of product. Now, I was able to blend out everything on my lids and it looked so gorgeous, but this was one of those shades, full opacity, blended out, worked like a dream. Second to last shade, we are on Midnight Espresso. This is a warm brown, and this was actually the only shade that was so deep that when I tried to work it and apply it through the crease, I accidentally grabbed too much product, and I did have to go in with a wet wipe and clean up the outer edge of my eye because it was just so much opacity that I actually applied too much. So really keep that in mind. This is probably the most richly pigmented shade out of the bunch. Now, that being said, it is the smoky eye of your dream. This is a shade that builds up beautiful, and if you are in the market for a quick smoky eye color, this would be a super easy way to do that and really get that nice depth and that nice richness out of it really, really fast. And I also think this would be a great shade, while we're on the topic, for a liner. Oh my gosh, if you wanted to just take a little pencil brush, you could use this shade, you could define your upper lid, you could do a wing, you can do so much with this color. And I think it's just because it is so rich and it is so deep in opacity, it's such a gorgeous shade. And then last but not least, we have the shade Nude Awakening. This is a bone color shade, and I actually really am glad that they included this. Now, watching me work it through the crease and try it on probably won't get you very far, just because it was on a lighter base and I am a very fair skin tone, so you probably won't be able to see as much contrast with this as you were with all of the other shades. But what I really like about this, and you guys see it in a lot of my reviews, I love having a nice light bone color shade to work up between the color and the brow bone of my eye, just to really blend everything out. And I think that that would be a really beautiful area for this to come into play. And those are all the 8 shades. Now, what we are going to be doing next, and the reason that I did all of those the way that I did, is because I want to be able to pull you guys in and just hang out with you and apply some of these, maybe mix them together, see how the combinations go. So we're just gonna go ahead, dive in and play, and that's why I wanted to get all of that first part out in the open and over and done with, because now it's time for some fun, girl. So let's go ahead, zoom you in and get going. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my ABH eye primer here, and I am going to just take a little on my finger and apply it. Also, I'm trying a different foundation powder combination today, so if up close, I don't know what this looks like on camera, so if you see anything and you're like, oh, a little crusty, little busty, little funky, that is why, so just FYI. So I am going to be starting off here with the shade Sassy. Now, something that I don't know if I will have showed it in that clip or not, depending on how much time there was, but when I went through and I gathered the product to work it into the crease with these liquid shades, I actually took it just off of the little applicator here, straight onto the brush, and I did it like that. You can go in with just the paddle and kind of pack it onto the lid if that's what you're going for, but I do find that you will get more control going in this way and kind of working it in. I also did clean each brush individually between each swatch for those little inserts you just saw, so just an FYI, these have been cleaned as well. And this brush is stained. I don't know if I said that or not, but the brush I'm using right now, this is the ColourPop E9, and I'm going to be taking this on like the inner portion right here to work it through. But if you do see a light amount of purple at the tip, it is because it is stained, not dirty, because I cleaned all of them. So I'm just kind of starting here up in this little region and just working this really nice pink shade up in very light motions. Now, this brush is a little bit more dense, and I'm not loving the application because it is a little more dense. I'm actually going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch it over to a Sigma E38, which is a lot fluffier, but still on the small side. I definitely feel like when working through the crease, these manipulate better with a fluffier style brush. So on that same brush, I'm now going to grab some of this Violet Velvet shade here, which is that nice bright purple, and I am going to start kind of applying and popping this right in this area and just blending it out. Like, that color to me is just, oh my god, it's so satisfying. Now, if when you're applying this you do feel like right here, for example, I'm having a hard time blending it out, I'm gonna take this bigger fluffy brush. This is the one that I used for the swatches, and I'm gonna use this to just really diffuse that color and work it through the crease a little bit better. I do find that giving up a little control and using a fluffier brush does help it kind of blend through a little bit easier, at least for me it does. So it might use a brush like this one that's still a little bit fluffy. I can go in, I can deepen up the color, and just really pat it in and apply. But then you can also go in with this fluffy brush here and really work it out through the crease. So next up for the lower lash line, I'm going to take the green shade, which is Enchanted Earth, and I'm going to take this on one of my favorite brushes. This is the Morphe M506, and this is going to go, like I said before, straight to the lower lash line. And I really just want to see how this one shears out in that area. Oh, that is a great color. I love purple and green. I love purple and orange. I feel like those two colors, those two sets of colors rather, are just gorgeous. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh. It blended down onto the lower lash line, right on into my under eye bags seamlessly. What did I do to deserve this? Nothing. I could never have deserved this because it's so good. Stila, y'all did this. This green and I are going to have an actual date. We're going to go get some dinner. It's going to buy me a Diet Coke with light ice, and we're probably going to get married. That's how much I love this Diet Coke. I meant to say green shade and it came out Diet Coke. Freudian slip? I think so. All right, guys, and then real quick, just in here, I just wanted to see if it would work. I took the shade Nude Awakening and I kind of took it up into this area of the eye just to see if I could open it up and use it with that green shade. And I'll do it on this side real quick here for you guys to see. It is beautiful. Like, it's just a nice bone color shade. I would be mindful if you're like me and you're on the fairer side because it can darken up your under eye bag a little bit. But if you're using it just to sheer out a color or to like use in conjunction with another shade to either get it to be more gradient or as a cut crease, I think this is going to be a great color as well. Because that really is beautiful. And it manipulates and blends so nicely with the other shade. I'm really impressed with that. So next up, just like I normally would, I'm going to grab my NYX glitter glue here, and I am going to lightly pat that on the lid. Now I'm not grabbing a lot of this here, just a little bit. And this is something I do if you guys are new here. This is one of my favorite ways to do my eyes. I love to work different colors through the crease here and then just very lightly kind of veil them with some glitter glue. Then I'm going to go in here with a little bit of the Jeffree Star highlight. This is in his new shade Diamond Wet. It is a gorgeous shade. I did include this in my full review of his Jawbreaker collection, which I will link right up here for you. It is a wow collection, but I love this highlight and I really would love to see this packed on the lid here. So that's what we're gonna do. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, and I just got glitter fallout all over my face. Paige, that was not smart. Who are you and what have you done with any form of intelligence? Wow. Okay. So I screwed that up a little. Cool. Good for me. Oh my, guys, I screwed it up bad. Let's try to fix it. It's just a part of my under eye now. Cool. All right. That's fine. I don't care. Guys, it can't matter that much. We're not even really talking about this. We're just trying to get the glitter on. All right. So we're just going to pretend it didn't happen. I'm not going to get too upset about it because that applied gorgeously and it looks stunning. Okay, cool. Just popped a little bit on the inner eye as well. That is so nice. Okay, so there's one more thing I wanted to test out here, and it involves the shade Midnight Espresso. And I'm going to take that shade with the Sigma E10 small eyeliner brush, and I am going to basically try to give myself a tight eyeliner just to see how this works as an eyeliner, because I'm very curious. All right, so I just did like a nice little tight line right there, and guys, I'm really impressed with that. I did have to build up the opacity just a little bit because it was kind of shearing itself out as I went over it, but that's really the only thing that I noticed as far as application wise. It went on really nice. It even went over this like little glittery area, which is why I put the glitter down first. I wanted to see how it would go over top of that, and it worked just fine. Again, I had to build up the opacity a touch, but I think it looks really nice. Even if you didn't want to use it as a crisp liner like this, you could even go in with like a smudger brush and kind of smudge it up in there and make it look nice and smoky on the lash line. That's one of my favorite things to do with eyeshadow. So far, I'm really not seeing anything that's any different than what I would use it for with a regular shadow. I think this is a super easy, fast look, and it's coming together quite nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead here and line the other eye real quick and keep going. And okay, you guys, this is the finished look. I just ran ahead and finished everything up off of camera real quick. I will, of course, tell you guys a couple of things that I added, starting with the IT Cosmetics mascara, the Superhero Mascara. I did that on the upper and lower lash line. I went in with the Maybelline Maybelline Lasting Drama eye pencil just to hit the upper and lower water lines because I really wanted this to have like that nice dark black kind of sultry look. And then on the lips, I went in here with the Revlon Ultra HD Vinyl Lip Polish. This is in the shade Date Night, and I actually used these in a full face of new drugstore makeup, which you probably will have just seen like yesterday or the day before. I will link it up here for you guys, and that's what's on the lips all by itself. It's a really, really beautiful color, and I think I even used it in that video. It's just gorgeous. So anyways, okay, let's go ahead and round out my final thoughts. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I will be wearing these for a little while, but I won't be able to wear them for like an entire day. So what I will do is leave you guys down below how long I wore them for roughly and how they lasted, if they creased, if they got weird or anything. So if you're curious about that, there will be a little information, and of course this was a first impression, so I will keep you guys updated here in a couple of weeks on how these wore, what I thought, so on and so forth. Now as far as how these wore and what I think of them on a first impression standpoint, guys, I am insanely impressed. I love the eye look. I love the way that these blend. I think for me what really stands out the most about these is that not only did they work beautiful on their own as like an all over lid color and they buffed out and they were great in that respect, but I love that they worked so well with each other, that they blended so nicely, and they worked well with other mediums. They didn't reject the glitter glue when I put it on the lid. They worked great on my lower lash line, even into my little bag area right there. Everything still blended really, really nicely, and that for me is probably like the biggest thing that I take away from this video, is that these are very multi-purpose. Something else that I know a lot of you are probably going to be wondering is how do these compare to the Huda Beauty little liquid shadows that she came out with? They were the dual ended. They had like a matte on one side and a shimmer on the other, and I really liked those when they came out as well. I thought they were beautiful. The color stories, the idea of having both in one, you could literally do an eye look. It would be simple, but you could do an eye look with one pen, and I thought that was a really cool, innovative way to approach something like this. So I don't take anything away from that launch, but I will say that I did have an easier time applying these, and I can feel the difference in how they applied to the lid. Just so far, if I had to guess, these would probably last a little bit longer on my lids because my lids are more on the oily side. But again, I haven't worn them. I haven't tested that theory, so that's just me kind of guessing and feeling that consistency. But one thing I know for sure, these did blend nicer. Now you guys, I'm going to stop talking here because quite frankly, we all know I can talk forever, and I do talk forever. So I'm going to just stop, and I'm going to round this whole thing out by telling you guys to go in the comments, leave me your thoughts, your opinions. What do you think of the eye look, this concept, this shadow? Are you in it? Are you not? And if you haven't done so yet, please do not also forget you can subscribe and turn on your post notifications to this here YouTube channel. I do upload 5 videos a week. Yeah, you heard that right, girl. 5. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They go up bright and early between 6 and 7 a.m. my time here in Northern Michigan. It is early. It is fun. We drink our coffee together. We live our lives. We talk about new makeup, old makeup, fun makeup, whatever the case is going on in makeup, even if we don't like it, we talk about it every single day, bright and early, and it is just, it's literally the most fun in the world. So definitely subscribe if you have not done so yet. Turn on your notifications. And you guys, that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I mean, hello. Hello, liner. Hello, smoky eye. Hello, everything. Hi, I love you. Will you marry me? Will you be the smoky existence in my life? I don't smoke cigarettes, girl, but I smoke you. You're so cute. Señorita, I feel for you. You do things that you don't have to do. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the the Jeffrin stab. Ow, that was my foot. No problem though. Y'all, I'm wearing a pair of shorts and my legs are sticking to everything, girl. They're like 2 big old white hams just sticking to everything they can find. It's like everything. Because they're sweaty, get it? Not because they're nasty or anything, just because they're sweaty. They're not like actual ham covered in honey, just to clarify. Because I'm just sitting here covered in honey. I'm like, yeah, girl. No, Paige. No. I've got my nose. Okay. My nose itches right in that crevasse right there, and it's like, like I just want to get in there with like little claws and just like itch. That's a look, Paige. That's a look.